I can remember when I started following Jesus during my freshman year of college, and really soon began to realize that this Christianity thing was not supposed to stop with me. If God had used other people in my life to help me come to know Him, maybe He wanted to use me in other people's life to help them come to know Him too. And so I came to Kaleo because I wanted to learn how. Soon into Kaleo, I started to just dream and to think about who God might use me to share the gospel with. And I just started to pray, God, would you bring people to know you? And make a list almost of like, these are the people I want to share my faith with. And that list was long, but at the top of the list, above anyone else in the whole world, was my brother Luke.
So I had the unique privilege of growing up with Braden and seeing him live his life in high school and then going off to college, and him really start following God in college.
It was about 10 weeks later, after OU Texas of my brother's freshman year, that he came to me with a question about God. And it just began this process where we processed the gospel over the next 2 weeks, and I would share the gospel with him almost every single day, and it just felt like the truths he had heard his whole life actually began to take root in his heart.
About a month or two into college, I decided that I wanted to start following Jesus as well. And right away, Braden takes me underneath his wing, and everything he had learned, he begins to teach me. And one of those things was how to make a disciple.
I taught Luke how to share his faith. I remember we would go into Walmart and I would point out random people and I'd say, Luke, go share your testimony with him. Like, be bold, go share with him. And he would do it. And most importantly, I taught Luke that this isn't supposed to end with him either. If God had used other people in his life to help Luke come to know him, God wanted to use Luke in other people's life to help them come to know him too.
A little bit later, I get to meet Carson, and me and Carson hit it off and we're really good friends. But while me and Carson are building a relationship, Braden is teaching me how to pursue Carson with the gospel. And so I start pursuing Carson with the gospel. He decides he wants to follow Jesus. And then once again, Braden starts showing me how not only do I want Carson to be a disciple, but we want him to be a disciple maker. Everything that I have learned, I start teaching Carson, wanting him to be a disciple maker.
He begins to share every part of his life with me, working out with me, praying, reading his Bible, inviting me into his room to do a game night. He did everything with me. He starts discipling me. I start following Jesus. A few months later, Luke invites me to go share the gospel with him with a guy in my PC. I end up sharing my testimony to him, and it was at this moment it just clicked. It was a vision to go and make disciples, to share my faith. God used Luke so much in my life. I wanted God to use me too.
I ran into Carson at the gym, and I hadn't seen him since high school. Me and Carson began to hang out, and he invited me to a coffee shop one morning, and he shared Romans 6:23 with me. In that moment, it felt like God was calling to me, Max, follow me. I decided to take a leap of faith and come to Kaleo. Ever since being at Kaleo, I've been learning what it means to love God and to make disciples. Because of Braden, Luke, and Carson's faithfulness, I now know what it means to be a disciple of God, and I can't wait to go back on campus and make more disciples.